All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. We're here today with an update in many ways on some of the violence that's occurred at the establishment behind me and that have challenged downtown actually for decades. But the primary thing that we're sharing with you today, we'll give a little bit of an update. But the city is moving forward to close knockouts for the next 30 days. Now, there are some legal details around how to do this and what's permissible and what's not, so I'm just going to share with you some of this. But the short story is I think we're all well aware in general of this establishment being connected to lots of illegal activity over the years, including most recently the homicide inside the club that involved a 16-year-old who obviously should not have been in there, who also had a gun, which should not have been in there, as well as the associated firearm with someone who is inside the club that also had a firearm. Again, none of these are permissible. There's different agencies involved in this investigation as a whole, and the state is taking the lead on permanent action, liquor license, all of that is still in the hands of RLD. But what we're able to share with at the city level, we also found some code enforcement violations. And that allows us, due to those violations, to provide notice that we will be revoking their license and suspending it for 30 days. Now, there is a notice period and hearing officer period for some of this, but they were sent this letter, I believe, on Friday from our city. And it states here that under specifically the section 13-15-10, states that the mayor shall suspend a license for a period of time not to exceed 30 days if the mayor determines that a license or operator or an employee has violated or is not in compliance with this section. That is exactly what we are doing. Now, we're hoping that this 30-day period also provides adequate time for enforcement at the state level. So we'll see what happens with that. You can direct questions regarding that, of course, to the state. But we want to provide you with some more details on this from our code enforcement department and from the Albuquerque Police Department. But this action clearly states that I will not tolerate blatant disregard for safety in our city and will use every tool at our disposal to try and hold folks accountable. And in this case, that means a 30-day closure. So with more on this, let's hand it over to our planning director, Alan Varela.
Yes. A week ago, part of a routine inspection that was conducted here revealed that the business was out of compliance with the sexually oriented business requirements. More specifically, they are required to have proper identification records for each entertainer, each person who is employed here as an adult cabaret performer. They did not do that. There are very good reasons for that law being on the books. They're there to protect society, to protect everybody who comes into the establishment, and especially to protect the employees, the dancers who perform at places like this, to make sure that they're of record and such. We found that that was not the case here, and so they've been issued their notice of suspension. They do have a 10-day window before that goes into full effect. They do have the right to appeal that to a hearing officer, but it's a clear black and white case of not having what they were supposed to have as required by law. Thank you.
All right, and with a public safety update on the criminal side, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm the Deputy Commander Jose Sanchez with the Downtown Unit. First off, thank you to Mayor Keller and the Albuquerque Police Department for the support in trying to keep downtown safe and making it safer for everybody to come downtown. So APD has invested in efforts in the downtown area to make it safer for everybody. We have created the Downtown Public Safety Center, or the Don Perkins Public Safety Center. We have created the Team Overtime Initiative that allows us to use additional funds to bring officers on overtime and help with the downtown crowd. And as recently as last week, Mayor Keller announced that we've are adding additional lighting to the downtown area to include alleys and on downtown, or correction, on Central. So we are working alongside the U.S. Attorney to designate downtown, as you know, as a gun-free school zone. Our downtown officers have made a few arrests with individuals in possession of firearms, and those cases have been forwarded to the U.S. District Attorneys. So a big part of our efforts is addressing gun violence. This past weekend, some of the efforts involved dealing with intoxicated individuals, minors who were in possession of alcohol. Those individuals were contacted by our downtown officers, and they were found to be in possession of firearms. We had 3 firearms that were recovered. 2 vehicles were sealed, pending a search warrant to retrieve additional firearms. We made 3 arrests out of that interaction. So this location has been known to create some issues, criminal activity, and I can point out personally to 5 incidents that I know of involving firearms. Every single one of those incidents, those 5 incidents, has involved firearms. Employees have also been involved in those incidents. I can provide those details later on if you'd like. The efforts are going to be ongoing to address gun violence in the downtown area. We will increase presence, take enforcement action to address the crime concerns as we all see down here, and we'll continue to partner with our businesses and the downtown community. We want people to come downtown. We want people to come and enjoy downtown and have fun, but we are not going to allow criminal activity to take part. Our officers have been strong in addressing the issues, and as I said before, we do deal with a lot of minors being in possession of alcohol, being intoxicated, and also being in possession of firearms, and we will not tolerate that.
Thanks. Ava, you want to take questions?
Anyone face on strong discussion?
A question, I guess it's in line. I know you guys are, you stated that level. I guess the question is like, why now after incidents over the past few years, like why does it take a 16-year-old to enter a strip club with a gun, you know, for it now? Because I wouldn't even say it's a suspension even enough at this point, but I do understand what you're saying, that it's a process and state part.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, and I think folks who may know that we've tried to actually shut this business down before, but our community and our country has laws, and this is a private business, and the government can't just go shut it down because it has a history of being dangerous. There has to be specific situations that match city ordinance that give me the power to do this. In this case, it actually had to be a code violation with respect to that registration of dancers. But again, I'll keep trying to do everything we can to make downtown safe. And this time, they messed up, and we're going to hold them accountable. Now, on that actual sort of incident-specific side, that'll be up to the state, and we'll see what kind of case they put together. But we already know of 2 violations, and I believe, not speaking for them, but it takes 3 for automatic revocation. So we know they're in the zone of being held accountable.
How long has this business been on your radar?
So, you know, when I took office, I talked to, I believe, the 3 previous mayors about this business. And this has been a challenge since, I mean, I was born and raised here. And this, you know, particular combination of hard liquor and adult dancing and downtown, and in this case, firearms, has been problematic for decades. And I know almost every mayor has tried to do something to just have a different business here. And it hasn't worked. But I think I'm the first one who's able to shut it down for 30 days to buy some time for the state to find some long-term justice here. And so that's what I'm going to try and do. But, you know, I also respect the law myself. And so, you know, we can't just stand out here and bar the doors shut without a legal reason.
Go ahead.
Mayor, does this business fall under the federal firearms school zone district?
So it does in a sense of its proximity to schools. And again, that's why, as the lieutenant mentioned, we have forwarded these cases for federal prosecution. And we want to send that message that unfortunately these incidents might happen. But I will tell you, when those are federally prosecuted, as many of you know, there is a long road of accountability and criminal justice that happens when that law is violated. But the enforcement of that is now in the hands of the feds.
Alan?
Just to pick up on the mayor's things for like clarity, and thank you for that. Is it legal
What the mayor is referring to, I believe, is the liquor license regulations that are handled entirely by the state. As far as the city ordinances go, if there are two of the violations of ordinance within a 12-month period, then the mayor can revoke the sexually oriented business license for a year. And so this is the first of those possible two.
So it's a process, but what does it take for it to be closed down permanently? Because I know you said it's not a past season, it takes time. So I'm just trying to understand, what does it take for this to be shut down permanently?
Permanently, that'd probably be a question that's more appropriately addressed to the state, who's conducting their investigation actively now. That's right.
Mayor, so it seems like you've said 99% of this, but just to make absolutely clear, your goal is not to shut this down for 30 days, it's to shut it down permanently.
Well, that's what I would prefer. And so, but I don't. I wish that I had the full power to do that by myself, but I'm going to need help from other regulatory agencies to do that. It's just beyond the scope of a mayor.
What about other bars in the downtown area? Are any of them on your radar, in good standing? What's your take on how they're doing?
I think APD can speak to incidents at bars, so they could speak to that. But in general, there's been nothing close to my mind over the years, over decades, as a singular point of problematic illegal activity than this establishment. So the long answer to your question is not really.
Okay, one more real quick. So about this time last year, or 12 months ago or something, we were all talking about parking lots. You had two in particular that were kind of on your list
Yeah.
of naughty. What is the status of all that, and are they back in good standing?
So we've made some progress with our parking lots, and we appreciate the folks who own those and operate those for working with our team. We have continued on that particular lot. You can see the APD pop-up camera, but we're also in regular communication with those owners about the traffic flow and the closure times. In the summer, we experimented different ways to handle that, and also even food trucks. So we're going to continue that experimentation as the weather warms up, but it's going to coincide with our gating ability downtown. So we think actually the best way to control what was happening in parking lots is to better control the traffic flow in and out of downtown with a series of 22 gates that we'll be installing this spring. Now the parking lot to the west was sort of a different situation where we tried to activate it with, for example, the Jizza concert and other events that we had there that actually I think improved things quite a bit. So I think progress, but just because it's where people go after bars when they're inebriated and they tend to have firearms in their cars, these are still areas that we're very concerned about.
If the state doesn't come through in the next 30 days, is the city going to pursue other programs like the Adopt program to try and reduce crime in this situation?
We will pursue every tool available, including the ADAPT program. And right now, we'll wait and see what happens at the state level. And of course, for 30 days or so, this place will be closed. So we'll also see how that impacts downtown. But we're going to continue working on this through programs like the ADAPT program.
I also have a follow-up question for Officer Sunshine.
We can do polar sides too if we just want to do that really quick. Lost all our light. Did you have one more?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
With this 30-day, will the code enforcement put up towards on knockouts? Or what is that process? Code enforcement works on buildings and closes them down.
That's more of a board up, but yeah.
Yeah. The board ups are generally for places that are getting vandalized or broken into. So, no, I don't presume would be using city resources to board up something as long as it's lawfully closed and kept that way.
Thank y'all. If you have any follow-ups, let me know.